Okay, I think we're going live. Try this one more time. I have not. Oh my God, what is up with my throat? So we're outside. I'm showing everybody my crystals, and all of a sudden my phone just goes, you have to wait to use your phone. It's too hot. And it literally told me my phone was too hot. And it shut it down. It was hot out there, but I was like, yeah. So it's too hot. So obviously can't use my phone for who knows how long. And it is very hot out. So I decided to come inside instead and get this going so we can continue with the live as planned. So hopefully people will be here. Hello from your bathtub. Yay! That's great. I think I'm definitely going to take a bath. Definitely going to take a bath today. Oop, now, can you hear? This is on low. Is that really loud? Oh, I don't have my mic hooked up. You guys are not going to be able to hear me. It just hit me. I need to go get my mic. I'll be back. Course. Okay, so I need to hook this up real quick. Not the way it's going to stay, but the way it is going to be for right now. Okay, something has to be unplugged. Oh, but see, that light is good. I have to move my lights. Oops. Okay. Let me know if that's better as far as hearing me. And then as far as seeing me. Oh my God. Let me go. Have the cord on. Tied up so I don't trip on it, but it makes it so I can't move it. Oh. Let's be a little bit more centered. Okay, I hope that helps. There we go. See? Maybe even a little too bright. Take it down a notch. Okay. I have it. That's interesting. It should have changed. It should have changed quite a bit. But okay. because my mic on my computer and my mic and this mic are like very big difference as far as what it can do. So, but as long as you can hear me good, that's what counts. So anyhow, we're inside. We are, this is my front yard is back here. You know what I can do is open this up now because the sun has passed. Like I said, it has been incredibly hot. So one way to keep your house from overheating is to block the sun from coming in. I even put a curtain up outside so the sun wouldn't be hitting my porch and my front door. And just doing that makes a huge difference. So covering your windows, because the window maximizes the sun's power, the glass does. And so if you can shield the house from that coming through, that'll definitely help with the heat. So we are inside now because my phone decided it was too hot. It was like, it's too hot. You can use it later when it's not so hot. So I put it in the refrigerator. That's a fast way to cool down your device, is put it in the, you can also put it in the freezer, but I just put it in the fridge. So anyhow, we were talking about my crystals. I was guided to bring out all of those clear crystal quartz outside into the sun for us to look at and get some of their beautiful vibes from. This full moon, this super full moon, so it looks really big in the sky, which is super, super cool. But this full moon is about illumination, is about things being clear and having clarity that you didn't have before. For things, people, information, animals, experiences, all sorts of things to come into your life, into your awareness, into your field, one way or another, for you to be aware of them or to experience them, to offer you greater illumination. And so when I tapped in with our guides and guardians about this full moon that seemed to happen 3 seconds after the solstice and about 5 seconds after the new moon, this time has gone by so quickly. The theme and the word that came through was illumination, and everything that means, to be in the light, to be of light, to have more light, to have clarity, to be illuminated, to rise, to but also with illumination, I also feel that that's just a very, like, that's the beginning, has very, because once she's like, oh, now I'm illuminated, now I know more, now I'm more clear. So that's the beginning of a new paradigm for me, of either a dissolution in something, a solidifying in something, a creating of something. There's a shift there with illumination. And this full moon is kicking off the energies of the entire month of July, which is all about divine illumination, divine connection, divine clarity, really coming in hot and strong with the dragons, as you saw from my videos from a few days ago, them talking about heat, about bringing the heat, about using fire and heat, passion, energy for clarity, for clearing out, for medicine, in different ways for people to, adjust And this is their month. This is the dragon month. So I talked about that in those videos. I did 2 regular videos and where I showed you the sky and talked about it. And then I did 1 short. So it wasn't anything long. And then I did a video from the other day where I took a walk to my gate and I was guided to talk about the dragons again. And so they've been coming through quite a lot. Real healing, creative, connected, connective, clarifying, illuminating energies. Beautiful and blissful and loving and nurturing and playful. I could go on and on about the energies and what the dragons bring through, and how they have many different facets to them, but also many different ways that they help us see the truth, feel the truth, know the truth, be the truth in everything. And I know that talking about dragons and believing in dragons and all of that to some people would sound absolutely insane. I get that. I do. I really do. But it is what it is. I mean, they do exist. They are in and outside of time, in and outside all dimensions and realities. They shift and move with the elements and through time. They work with us in many different ways. Coming through the clouds is just one of the ways that they come through for us. They materialize for us. They work with us. They're divine in every way. And yeah, I guess not everybody is meant to know not everybody is meant to wake up. Not everybody is meant to really, connect to all the different facets of the truth and reality and what is beyond our perception, the way that most people know it. But for those of us who do and are and have and are in the process of or going through that, oh, Alex, I'm from the hell you are in. Okay, let's not bring in negative energy. We're not about that here. Let's turn that into a positive. I have the impression, oh, this sound, okay. So anyhow, this super full moon is very much bringing in all of these energies. The Stargate starts on the 7th, ends on the 17th. That is also the new moon. So we're just one thing. And so it's one wave into another wave, into another wave, into another wave. That's the way the whole rest of this year is going to go. So strap in, people, because it's not going to get any lighter as far as momentum, as far as intensity, as far as shifts and awarenesses and real tests of our comprehension and stability and groundedness in where we are on a spiritual level, on an awake level. A lot of people aren't as stable in their spirituality as they may think. And so things come through towards the end, the middle to the end of the year to really help you solidify where you're at, what you know, what you think, what you have to repeat in your experiences because it's just not sinking in. And where your distresses are, where your fears are, where your chronic illnesses, diseases, triggers, where your false narratives are, all of that is really going to start ramping up now. Or maybe it already has started with June. But if it didn't in June, if there wasn't major pops happening for you in June, like we said in one of these lives, I think it was the new moon live, was that this is when people are going to start waking up. This is when people are going to start leveling up. This is when things are going to start really kind of coming further into clarity and crispness when it comes to perception, which there you go leads into illumination and what we're seeing and perceiving and all of that. Yeah, if it's not quite the right moment for you to be here, then don't be here. Be somewhere else if that's the state of mind that you're in. And it is the full moon. It is really intense. So whatever we're already feeling, if it is tension, if we're bothered, if we're triggered, if we're irritated, this full moon is only going to amplify those feelings, those, how we're feeling. It's making me cold, actually. I'm like, I don't need to be cold. Trying to find that happy medium in the environment. So anyhow, love you too, and I hope you feel better. So anyhow, just really be aware of that for yourself. Just be like, okay, where are the things going on in my life where I am bothered, frustrated, irritated, angry, sad, whatever? That is more the negative side. And just understand that this full moon and leading into the Stargate, there is no break here. We have the full moon today. It started 2 days ago. It's going to last another couple days before we get into the waning gibbous. And then we're going to be in the Stargate on the 7th. So for 11 straight days to the 17th, and then we're going to be in the new moon. So like I said, there is no break here. It goes boom, 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 wave, 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 just a little bit of different energies as we go from wave to wave to wave. But the waves are not stopping. They are only getting bigger and more intense. So we need to be really conscious about ourselves, how we feel physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically, spiritually, what we're putting out, what we're sending out to other people, what we're putting on other people, and be really conscious of that. Be really conscious of that. It's like what you're sharing, what you're putting out there, what you need to talk about to other people, about yourself or other people. I would say that this is a time where being more quiet, more in solitude. We talked about this in previous lives, being in solitude and quiet, going into this time period is probably the way to go, because you need that time to connect with yourself, with your body, with your energy, with your mental state, with your emotional state, and check in and check in and check in and keep checking it. For those of you who have done and are repeating and going through and reevaluating your Soul Quest program, just know this is now, if you've been on a break, this is something I really did want to share with everybody. If you've been on that break that we talked about, and most likely it was about a month break between ending it and now, right? And so what came through very, very strongly is that's it. And time's up and no more breaks. It's time to pick it back up and get into the groove if you haven't yet. We don't want too much time to go by. And other things are going to be coming up. It's going to also need your attention. These things are going to need to merge. So it's definitely time to get back on the Soul Quest horse. If you have not gotten back up into the saddle yet, because you needed this time for a break, which I totally understand. Everybody totally understands that. There was other things to integrate, to assimilate to download before getting back and doing a review of the Soul Quest program. But that time begins basically this week. Don't let the second week start, like a second Monday, begin without starting your review process of the Soul Quest program. Okay, so when it comes to this full moon, and the energy is coming through about it, again, illumination was the big like headline, the big title, illumination. And that could be as detailed or as broad and ambiguous as, you know, your whole life will be illuminated, or certain aspects in certain very specific ways will be illuminated. But this is really one of the best times to, I guess, let all this illumination energy, this strong sun, the strong moon energy, everything is very lit up, and well, if you're in the northern hemisphere, everything's very lit up and powerful when it comes to that. So really tap in with all of that type of energy and decide that you want to use it to help illuminate your conscious awareness of what systems and programs and stories and illusions and fears and past history, whether it's this life or other lives, have going on that is causing any blockage for you as far as momentum forward, as far as growing in the ability to manifest, to materialize, to magnetize towards you, to what your intentions are for yourself. And if clarity is needed, like, okay, well, what am I going to do, or how am I going to do things, or what's coming up next, or any of those things, this is definitely time for that, because it's kind of like a twofold thing. It's like all the energies are opening up for that, just generally speaking. But then when you go ahead and say, okay, I really want to harness this energy and use it for, and then fill in the blanks, we're talking beyond the full moon, beyond, you know, the energies that have come before now. We're talking about the Stargate that's coming up as well, and this amplifying through this whole month. And how what is all the different divine beings that are around and stepping through and stepping up to get things kind of regulated, back on track, reconnected, because there had to be a certain level of disconnection over these last few months for several of us, for collectively, in different ways, with different things going on. There needed to be a certain level, like a different type of connection, maybe putting it that way. A different type of connection and some disconnection to have what has happened happen. Because there's only so much capacity that we have, and that reality can put on the table at once, for any one of us or for collectively. So as the wheel of time is turning, there's certain things that have transpired, that has happened, that has been settled, that has been grounded into the reality, that is now part of the reality. And then we can be like, okay, now that I'm here, whatever that means for you, now that I'm here, now I can, okay, let's get into where and how I, and where I'm at, and where I'm going and let's reconnect. When I'm talking about reconnect, I mean reconnect with your guides and your guardians, reconnect with your guardian angel, reconnect with Gaia, reconnect with archangels, reconnect with your home, reconnect or connect fully to your home if you're somebody that just moved like me. Check in with cutting cords and resetting cords and all of these things. This is such a great time to do some serious evaluation of what your connections are and where you are in your balance and stability with yourself, all of your bodies, all of your chakras, all of your guides and guardians, nature, Gaia, your astrology, just any and all of it, especially whatever's come up for you in the last, I would say 2 months. Not too far back, because what I'm getting for a lot of people, especially if you're in my circle and especially if you're in my close circle, is that there's been a lot of shifts and changes in these last couple months. And the status quo, or whatever you had for your regimens, for your routines, for your Stargate, for your connections, for anything that you have going on with yourself on a spiritual level, has been adjusted and in some kind of flux. So we've gone through certain kind of riptidal type of energies. We have the solstice we just went through, and now we have this this full moon starting this month of July, and really tapping into the energies that come with the 4th of July here in America. Is this the energies, or well, we don't need to get too far into politics, but the overall energy of freedom, and new starts. Again, like I said before, illumination equals new beginnings by default, because you can't be like, oh, illuminated, and then like nothing has changed. If you're truly illuminated, something has changed. So that's kind of the energy that comes with all that. So this is a good time to and if you're going through the Soul Quest program, this is perfect, because you're going to be in evaluation mode, in open to discovery mode, in bringing through as much information for yourself as possible already. For anybody else, this is a great time for you to focus in on that, and on these different aspects of your life, and check in and see where you're at and what needs to be grounded in a little stronger, what needs to be cleared out, maybe by cutting cords or resetting cords with some instances, what you need to just have maybe a redo of a spirit walk or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, I don't know, to get you back into the groove, and all of that at some point here in the near future. And it's all still coming in for me too. At some point here in the near future, we're going to have more about what I'm doing with people, or what I'm putting out there, or what I'm going to be doing. It's still kind of not clear, but it's starting to come through. There's been a little bit of interference with that, with a few different things, and just balancing stuff out. And I'm not forcing it. Let's put it that way. I'm not forcing it. So just stay tuned, is what I'm saying. So just stay tuned for what we have coming up in the future. And let me know if you have any questions about any of this, because yeah, I mean, that's thematically the most of, you know, information that I would add to whatever you, if you watch the people that I suggest, which is Nina from Moon Omens, and Tani Gabrielle, and Ham Gregory, and Brasha Goldsmith. Now, I don't watch them all every time for everything that we have going down. That would just be way too much, personally. But I am guided to them differently. We go through different things. So those are the, so whatever you may have already or will be consuming from them or whoever else, but those are the people who I'm guided to, and very consistently over the last year, 2 years, 3 years, however long it's been with certain ones of them. So I would just say, whoever you're listening to, whatever videos you're watching about whatever's going on astrologically or spiritually, energetically, keep it a short list. Keep your list short. Don't watch things from a ton of different people. Don't make consuming all this type of information, I don't know. It can be too much. It can be too much. I don't know how else to put that. And then if you add in like watching tarot and, you know, all sorts of other stuff, it can be a problem in itself, because you're not just very, you need to be more specific about where you're being guided to, and getting all this information from all of these sources, and maybe conflicting, maybe people say different things, or your interpretation. And do you get personal time with any of these people? Most likely the answer to this is no. And so questions can go unanswered, and they can just roll into stuff, and that can be its own issue of, you know, blocking you from perceiving your own experiences and seeing how things, you know, play out in your reality, not just what you're hearing from other people. So, and especially when there's a lot of predictions, as you can tell, I don't do predictions about stuff. I get into how things are going to work with you, your body, what's going on in, you know, in those terms. I don't get into specifics about different, you know, what, unless I'm doing channeling specifically from different beings or entities, I'm not telling stories. Let's just put it that way, unless they're my own personal stories that I'm going to share with you all. All I'm saying is, be very discerning, be very, very picky about how you spend your time and who you're consuming information from. Okay. Karen says, I do watch the people that you suggested. Good. And Leonessa says, one big shift for me very lately is to not watch any movies or series anymore with humans except for documentaries. Basically only with animals. Interesting. Since I discovered that everything else takes too much space in my head and therefore takes away energy. Yeah, do what you got to do when it comes to that stuff. Like I said, I was like that for a good 10 years of my spiritual awakening, and it's only in the last year or so that it was like, oh, you can handle that. That's good for you, like as a healthy escape, to kind of shut down the other stuff that you're in most of the time, and to kind of go, okay, I'm gonna step away from that. But that could be the flip side. It could be the opposite too. Very much so. So it really just depends on where you're at with how you're processing and all of, you know, getting a handle on how to manage your energy and where your focus is supposed to be. I mean, you know, for the longest time, it was like I had no capacity for false, scripted stories about whatever. And it was just like, that is just not what I have time for. I needed all my time for the other stuff. But like I said, I've been going at this for a long time, so it's a little different. Yeah, very good. Very good. Yeah, no, that's wonderful. Yeah, that's how I had to be too. It's like, if like you can be inspired by other people's creations, but you can also be distracted by other people's creations. So whether it's watching, too many videos or too many movies or too much, anything excess that takes away from you and your what you're doing is a problem. For me, it's like I literally put on, and I usually don't do movies. It's usually some type of series, usually ones that I've watched, but not always. And it's the last thing I do before as I wind down to go to sleep, so my brain can just shut off from my perception of my reality, and I always fall asleep to it. So so it's funny. It's like at the end of my productive day, that's how I turn off my me production. And I have to turn myself off, or else I keep going and then I can't sleep. I literally won't sleep if I don't have something to go, oh, like we're shifting gears and we're going to pay attention. Like I literally learned, this is how you turn yourself off and go to sleep and relax and not think about what you're going to write or going to create or what's going on with this client or that client, or a video or a live or a podcast or channeling down information. Like it can just go on and on and on and on and on, especially since I only have so much time in my life to do so many things in my life, that I will, and as a definite workaholic, somebody who maximizes pretty much every day, every moment of every day, there needs to be a balance to turning it off. And that for me is usually by 8 p.m. And I start my day anywhere between 4 and 9 a.m. So it's a long day of me doing me. So yeah, you have to, for those of us who are really so very serious about ourselves and our work and what we're meant to do and connect to and create, we have to see the healthy balance in stopping and taking care of ourselves and doing what we know works for us personally to turn us off, to make us stop. Good. You should go to sleep. So you're still there. Good. You should go to sleep soon. So anyhow, with all of that said, however you're guided to adjust what you consume, do that. Because you can all of a sudden be like, oh, I'm just not guided to go on that person's bit anymore, or watch that show anymore, whatever it is, or do this, or what. You can just start veering and be like, yeah, I'd rather, I'm being guided to do this instead with my time, or like when you have to decide, is it this or is it that? Just think of how does either make me feel? What is either of these activities doing for me one way or another that's healthy for me? Is it adding energy, depleting energy? Is it making me neutral? Is it calming me down? Is it picking me up? Like what does this person do for me? What does that experience do for me? What is going here versus going there do for me? This is where I used to go. These are the people, or I have known, and this is what the activities that I used to do. So for some people, it could be like, oh, I spent 3, 4, 6, 7, 8 hours a day playing video games, or watching sports, or gambling, or watching YouTube videos, or, you know, I could go on and on in the different variations of the things that you can spend many hours a day doing, watching the news, you know, whatever. And you go at some point in your spiritual awakening, maybe it's a little bit of all of those things, but at some point in your spiritual awakening, you go, huh, I really shouldn't be doing this. Like, this isn't something that's really adding and taking me forward. Like, for an example, in my previous life, before I spiritually awoken, I loved watching baseball. Major League Baseball was one of my favorite things to do. And I was super, super duper into it for many, many years. But as I went through my spiritual awakening, and like, I couldn't watch TV shows, I couldn't watch movies anymore. They were all too violent, too intense, and they're too much for me I just couldn't, and literally couldn't. And then baseball was like the only thing. But then baseball, I started seeing how materialistic baseball and all sports are. It's all an exhibition. It's very much an illusion. It's all about making money. It's all about keeping people distracted from themselves and onto things that really don't matter. And I don't mean to minimalize, you know, I know a lot of people have a lot of energy that they put into sports and sports teams and things like that. But if you really start to spiritually awaken, these are one of the truths that you come to. And even diehard sports fans go, yeah, I don't do any of that anymore because I see it for what it is. And now I'm on to these other things. Whatever the case is for you personally, there comes a time when you go, yeah, I don't do that anymore. Or maybe you're somebody that never did these things and always did other, you know, the out of the norm stuff in your, for the most part. But most people have a mix of, I watch movies and TV, and I watch maybe some sports, or my husband does. And so we're kind of into that. And, you know, there's all these material matrix type things that people subscribe to and are into and make room in their life for and consume, whether it's, you know, the weekly TV shows or the nightly news or the movies that come out constantly. And now, well, it's a really interesting time too, because a lot of the new production of Hollywood, there's been a writer's strike for 2 months now, so no new shows are being written or produced. There may be a strike for actors as well. And, you know, there's already an abundance of these things to consume that, you know, there's shows out and series out there that, I mean, we can't possibly hear or even know of them all. It's exploded. And that's being slowed down, which is very, very, I find it very interesting, spiritually speaking. So anyhow, it's just during this time of illumination, of paradigm shifts. We talked about the paradigm shift really coming with the new moon and the solstice. And now it's in full effect as we go into July with this full moon, and then the Stargate coming in a couple of days. So all love to you too. That's okay. Sometimes that happens. So anyhow, these are things to just pay attention to as you're moving forward. The things that you know, are you doing things out of habit, out of routine, even though you're awakening and more, and there's a paradigm shift is where you are to prioritize and we are to be intentional about what you are to bring in and open up to. And remember, you know, we're really not meant to be too comfortable for too long when it comes to our spirituality and our awakening and our evolution and our shifts and our changes, because you know, comfort kind of equals stasis. And stasis is good and necessary, but not indefinitely. We need to keep moving forward. It means out with the old, in with the new. Regulate, assimilate, live in that paradigm. Out with the old, in with the new. Regulate, assimilate, live in that paradigm. Out with the old, live in the new. And again, and again, and again, and again. We're never done with that. And there's this stasis period throughout that process, but not to be just, I'm just comfy in my state of being, and this is the way life goes, ho-hum, every day is, you know, the same thing. That's for those who have not yet spiritually awoken. When you have, and you're going through the process of spiritually awakening, that doesn't exist any longer, because the magnetism towards evolution and higher and greater awareness of yourself and for yourself is the number one task on the to-do list, no matter what comes after that. And again, circling back to what was said earlier about reconnecting, just checking in with your regimen, with your guides and guardians, with how and what you're doing with yourself. Maybe things need to be shifted and changed. I don't know, but that certainly is. Don't just assume that everything's plugged in the way it's always been plugged in, especially if you haven't been using those tools or those connections with who and what that may be. A check-in would be great, is the bottom line here. Okay, so there you go. A check-in would be great. I don't know how else to put that. Write in the comments or whatever if you have questions about what that means, maybe for you, but otherwise, there you go. Okay, so we are going to move on to getting some oracle. And I know we've talked a lot about the dragons, but the dragons did not come up for me to use to get into their oracle today. It was two other decks, which is the Hidden Worlds Oracle and the Mystical Shaman Oracle. So, because I did very specifically check in about the dragons, and that was a no-go. So, and heads up, there is a very good chance that I'm going to do a Stargate live in just a few more days. I will keep you posted on that, or something soon after. It's still a little fuzzy, to be honest. So it's interesting how that's working. So anyhow, we're gonna turn this down a little bit. Okay, so we are gonna get. Let's get a card here. And again, thanks everybody for being here. We're going to try to make this live not so long because the energies are heavy. I was awake at like 3 in the morning with this full moon, and just my body very, very tingly and waking up thinking of all sorts of stuff, and just the typical energy of the full moon. And again, the directive to be more in solitude and quiet is pretty high. So I don't want to have us take up too much of our time with this live today, to be quite honest with you. So we can all right, let's take this card. So we can, since it flew right past the deck, that was hilarious. The pathway. The pathway. Let me turn this on. The pathway. How pretty that is. I love it. Says direction, purpose, change. I'm not sure, honestly, if I've ever seen this card before. If I have, it's been a really long time. And it's really, and I've had this deck for a really long time, but I've never was guided to look at all the cards. And I've definitely pulled the same card many times, but I don't think I've seen this one. Leonessa says, interesting. My full moon spread included a card with message adjustments are required. There you go. Or adjustments are, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Adjustments are required, definitely, as we move through and to prepare for the rest of this year. As we get into August and the Lionsgate, are you kidding me? Most definitely adjustments are required, and the need to be aware of where things were, where things are, and where things are going, and how to adjust accordingly your mental body, your emotional body, your physical body, for whatever that may be. Really think about things, and what, even if you're like, I'm not sure I'm comfortable with all that. Again, evolution and change and ascension is not about being comfortable. It's about growth, and growth is not comfortable, but it's necessary. So if we have too much comfort, too much stasis, then we're not actually evolving. We're making things, we're buying into the ego's illusion of change because there's certain things around us that change, and we go, see, there's so much change I'm going through, but you're not actually changing. So those are like the things that can definitely, we can be fooled. So anyway, the pathway, card number 35. Let's get into it. The pathway on pages 104 and 105. Okay, you know where you must go. You know what must be done. This is but a moment of hesitation, of integration of all that has led you to this place. The road ahead of you is distinct and clear for those of the hidden worlds, but you pause before continuing, as human eyes cannot always see the path that must be taken for the soul to continue on its journey. Whatever you do at this stage, you must know you are on the path. If you stay still and refuse to move, you are still on the path. If you run, turn back, and hide for a time, you are still on that path. You will not make a mistake, dear one. You cannot. Your soul knows what it is doing, and all you must do is choose the direction which will lead to the most self-love for you. It is no fantasy or dream. It is not foolish or selfish, as the human worlds call it, the human world calls it, to go in the direction that will lead to the fullest expression of your true self. Trust at this time, because although the path may be obscure to you, you have crossed a bridge in this lifetime, and you are facing in the right direction. Keep going, dear one. Keep going. We will guide your every step. We will place your feet on the unseen pathway, and you will climb to the place where you can truly see in all directions. And that, beloved, is a place of wisdom, which is your destiny. Oh my gosh, it's making me emotional. Illumination. My every step leads me in the direction of my soul's true calling. Oh shit. Gotta say it again. I love this card right now. Are you kidding me? This is so beautiful. We have crossed the bridge. We are on the other side. So it's okay to sit for a while. Like I said, it's like, it's fine to, you know, once we get to a certain place, yeah, we need to, this is where I'm at now. So let's assimilate to where the fuck I am, because this is new. I just crossed that bridge and now I'm here, and there's, you know, I'm not done. And now I'm here, and we are on the path, even though we don't know exactly where we're going. I just got done saying that. I don't even know where exactly what I'm supposed to be doing with myself on a daily basis as we move forward, but I know it's coming down, and as I move forward, it's getting more clear. So that's the type of energy that's required, is to go, I know I don't know. I'm okay with not knowing, because I will know. So for now, I do these other things to get me to that place, and then I will know, because I'm already here. So there you go. Yeah, definitely gonna check in. Good. Do the check-in. And I love, love, love this card so much. Holy moly. Like I said, it made me emotional, because it's a confirmation, it's a validation, it's an understanding of, you know, all that we've done so far and where we're going. Look at how great this card is, and where it's showing you where she is on the other side of the bridge, all the steps, every single step. There's steps here, and then the going over the bridge, letting things go here, and then being on the other side of the bridge. And then there's still, like, she, you know, she can see, like, okay, there's still, but look at all the steps, look at more, so many steps. So many. So many steps. She's like, okay. And again, to be illuminated there, see the light? We're already in the illumination. We're just getting more and more into the light as we move forward. So we need to make sure that we're not just blindly moving forward, that we're checking in with our regimen, with our routine, with our guides, our guardians. We're checking in with all of our cords. We're checking in with as much as we can possibly check in with. And if there's big question marks about things or people or experiences or where we're going in our lives, let's try to look at that and figure out, okay, well, what is my attachment to this question mark of a person or a situation or a destination or a whatever that it may be. Maybe it wasn't 2 weeks ago. Maybe it is today. Things change. You know, things change. And so we need to go through an understanding for ourselves of where we are now, not where we were a week ago or 2 weeks ago or a month ago, where we are today. And then see that it's as a blank canvas, and then let all the different pieces start falling into places to what this is for now and where we need to make adjustments. Okay, so there's that. That was awesome. Loved it, loved it. Let's move on to the shaman, the mystical shaman oracle here. And it is a beautiful card, and I absolutely love it. Like I said, if I had seen this card before, it's been a very long time, but I really, really don't remember it at all. Seeing this card, which is really cool for me. Personally, I can seriously resonate with this card big time. You don't remember seeing that card? Yeah, no, I've definitely not pulled it in a live. I don't think I've ever pulled it from, I think I would have remembered for myself or anybody else. I really don't think I've ever seen it, to be honest. And it's an 8, I'm being told. 3 and the 5 obviously is an 8. So anyway, love it. So let's move on to the mystical shaman oracle. Switching gears here from the hidden worlds. And the collective as our guides and our guardians, in that very hidden world, mystical way of the Hidden Worlds Oracle, one of my favorites. I did it again. I don't know. It's a new way I have of picking cards. Holy shit, that's hilarious. It definitely feels for me like I crossed a bridge. Yeah, for sure. I agree, for you, big time, and for me as well. For all of us that are in that inner circle, that did the soul quest for sure. Yeah, okay, so I'm dying. So this is card number 36. So we have 35 and now 36. So 8 and 9 with Middle World. Look at how beautiful this is. Middle World. Guess where Middle World is? Wait, wrong book. This. Oh, right to it. Wow. Okay, so yeah, so take a look at the card. Middle World is, as you would guess, here. This is the middle. We have the upper, the lower, and then the middle, where the trees are, where the birds are, where we could feel the sun. What else is going on here? Oh, just I think it's the essence of the elements. The moon is there. Plants, the tree. Yeah, pretty sure that's what we're looking at here. Yes. So, the essence, the middle world is the realm of day-to-day reality and the playground of the living. It is the present moment where everything is happening. Yet the middle world is created by the future, not only the past, and it is a mirror of the invisible realms. When things are right in the middle world, heaven and earth support everything. When they are not right, heaven and earth must be brought into order as well. The invitation. The middle world shows up when conditions are favorable to your undertaking. Do not hesitate. Move forward as heaven and earth are smiling upon you. The time is right, so be expedient, but mindful of not being reckless. The world is your playground, and what would require great effort at any other time can be accomplished with ease right now. And then the medicine. If we need the medicine, if this applies to you, the medicine. Do not try to correct in the earth what needs to be corrected in the heavens. The resources to support the change or endeavor you are considering are not readily available to you yet. So it's important to ask for help from the invisible realms, from helpers in the upper world. For now, wait. Oh my God, I love it. Love it, as usual. Love it, love it, love it. Holy moly. The middle world and everything that we have access to here is pretty mind-boggling. It's a lot. Because we have access to create in this middle world that we don't have access to create in the upper world. So we don't have access to create in the lower worlds. This is a very rich reality, rich world that we live in. The way that we can create here, the way that we can connect here is unlike any other realm or world. It's very specific. It's very beautiful. It's very magical. And like we've talked about before, this is where we ascend to hopefully better and better and better levels of lucid dreaming in this reality. This reality is very much mutable and change. We see how fast things change, how one decision leads to a whole new shift in paradigm over and over and over again, from the macro to micro and back and forth in this middle world. This middle world is really shows up. The illusion of the middle world is as it shows up with many hard lines and right angles and sharp edges, when the reality is that it's misty and mystical and a lot of round edges, and it's bubbly, and to shift from perception from one to the other is your own evolution and what goes on within your own vessel and structure. And then to spin out from that and then work within that requires many steps and many decisions of change. And we're getting this message here that this is a time to change, to make adjustments, but to move forward. That what we want to create, that where we are in here, it's like you've reached, where'd that card go? Oh, it's up here. That we did cross a bridge, that we are in a new paradigm, or the middle of a paradigm shift, depending on really where it is for you. I should say, not but, and this middle world card is showing us that what is required to move forward is the momentum that carried us where we are now. That, like we talked about, that comfort and that stasis and all of that, we need to put ourselves in those spaces for a time to adjust to the changes that we've already felt. And that could be exactly what this is talking about, is we're in the adjustment of the change and to move forward with that, not even anything beyond that. And that's the case, I think, for a lot of us is if let's go back and read this from that understanding, okay? I think it's really funny. We got 35 and 36, just saying. When things are right in the middle world, heaven and earth support everything. When they're not right, heaven and earth must be brought into order as well. So again, balance. So is everything right? If everything is not right, where is it not right? So consider that. And the middle world shows up when conditions are favorable for your undertaking. Do not hesitate, move forward, as heaven and earth are smiling upon you. The time is right, so be expedient, but mindful of not being reckless. The world is your playground, and what would require great effort at any other time can be accomplished with ease right now. And they're showing me very, very focused. This is not about a project necessarily, an endeavor, creating something other than you. That's all about you. This is a time to consider you as your creation, you as your beautiful work of art that you're molding out, that you're still chiseling away at to get to come out, and the magical, beautiful surprises that may come with that. This is a favorable time to work on you, that things are going to roll easier, that you're going to have aha moments, that you're not going to be so resistant, that you're going to let go. It won't be so hard to heal certain things, to let go, to cut cords. Like, this is the time. It's like, keep going with the momentum that you've already been at. And this is about you. Because everything that is connected to be created or in collaboration of or experienced through you will be that much greater because of this focus on you and your evolution, your epiphanies and aha moments and deja vus and synchronicities and seeing things in a way that you never saw them before and being able to tap in with the energies of things that maybe you didn't before. There could be certain tools. It could be certain tools or pieces of art or crystals, shells, jewelry. There could be certain things that you've had in your environment already that you were attracted to or that were given to you, or that you were just compelled to buy or pick up or to bring home, whatever they were, and they just kind of sat there. And I'm getting this as kind of like, this has happened with everybody, myself included, where you're like, I gotta have that, or you were given it, or you were guided to it, or you picked it up and it was something in nature or whatever. And this is not just one thing. This could be multiple things. So there's that as well. Crystals are definitely one of these things where you could have been guided or gifted crystals that you got, and then they've just been in your environment. You're not, that's it, as far as your perception goes. So what's coming through now is that heaven and earth have your guides and guardians, the universe, Mother, Father, God, Gaia, everybody that you want to, let that web out to for your perception of the web of life that you're a part of, and the spirit tribe that is comprised, that works with you exclusively and with you in a shared experience with the collective, have worked with the energies of life, let's just say, for you to have these things that you have currently in your possession. And there's certain things that are going to be activated starting now, today with this full moon, that you may just all of a sudden be very attracted to, or you need to move it, or these things need to be moved in your environment, that you want to have, that you want to hold or see in your eye line more efficiently, or whatever. It's hard to say exactly what, but just pay attention to these impulses and this guidance that you're going to be getting about your environment and what's in it. And also on the reverse side, maybe what needs to go. So maybe, something that's been there, or things that have been there, or hanging up or sitting there or whatever in your environment for a long time, you may just all of a sudden be like, oh, that's got to go. So that can definitely come. And yeah, I guess that's the most of it. And these things are going to, the reactivation or the activation or the reconnection or the connection, whatever, however you want to see it or put it, is really going to help us to whatever way move forward. So consider that as well. These are kind of like the micro changes, the bigger changes, but they're all very, very important. But what mostly is coming through here is don't hesitate when it comes to, it's like all of a sudden you just want, things need to move around in your environment. Go with that sooner than later. Or new things need to come into your environment. And this could be big things coming into your environment. Like my thing is about adopting a dog, which turns out that I've been guided to adopt a puppy, which I didn't think that was not on my radar. I was thinking adult dogs that are in rescues and stuff, older dogs that need, homes, and I was not in puppy mode. And it concluded that that is actually what I need to do, is have a puppy. And for various reasons, we don't have to get into it now, but that is a whole shift and change and bringing things, and there's a lot of, I've had resistance about it. I'm like, do I, don't I? And then I'm like, oh, do I get 2 puppies? It turns out definitely not getting 2 puppies. But I'm probably going to get a puppy. And that's a lot. That's a new being, a new person, if you will, in the household with all the other people, which are the cats, and everything in my day-to-day routine and my energy and what's, so that's a lot to assimilate to when you get the directive that, a new animal and animals are part of your new paradigm. And for you to make mental, emotional, physical, energetic, and spiritual space for that. So that's just an example of that. And accepting those, and not, there's one thing to be like, whoa, a little like taken aback, a little resistant, a little shift in, timing and energy, what you're thinking or where you were thinking or whatever that it may be. But it is important to not let the status quo of the way things are and how you're used to the way things are stay the way things are, because it's going to be disruptive or work or whatever the case may be, that it is when you either add another animal or add an animal or animals to your life. It changes everything. And like I said, this is an example. It's along the same lines too of, starting any new relationship or, having a new roommate or moving or anything like that, where it's going to be a whole new component is happening to your day-to-day reality. And the way that we can either really resist that or really be excited about that. And what our state of mind and perception needs to be. And when that information, those directives come through, to pay attention to how we process that and what we do with ourselves, and how resistant or how excited we are, the steps that we take, regardless of, of how we may be a little apprehensive into certain things. So to really think about that, that sort of thing. So that is an example of that. You don't want no vampire, for Lord's sake. Okay. So anyhow, so there we go with our oracle. We have the pathway and we have the middle. It's getting difficult to hear me. That's weird. Nothing's changed here. I wonder if this is